Hey everybody, Julie Gardner here with Rise Up Wealth. I am so glad you're here today. Does your income, does it rise to your potential or does it rise to your identity? We're going to talk about that today because I have with us the Identity King, Ricco McAdory. Yay! He's in the house with that amazing beard. Love it. And he's got some gray in there, which means he's been around the sun as much as I have. I just color mine. So we're the same age, I'm sure. I think we are. But Ricco is so amazing, an entrepreneur. You know how you invite those people that are authors of books? Yes, he has written a book called Your God-Given Identity. And then the podcast person's not read it and they're like, I don't know. Didn't you read a book? That makes me laugh every time. I'm like, get some highlights. I have read the book and I took lots of notes because in my coaching experience with people, identity is key when they don't know who they are. And now that I'm doing pretty much, I don't know, I'm still always coaching. I'm always minding people's business, but I also do sales. And there's days I wake up and I go, who do I want to be today? Let's go. Because when my identity ain't right, I'm not moving right. So what's cool about Ricco too is he is the founder of Rise and Reign Leadership Academy. So for those of you that would like a faith-based place to learn how to actually be authentic in the marketplace and not compromise your standards or just be a generic copy of somebody else, check it out. So I'm going to include his website. Go on. He's on YouTube. He's got a whole channel just like me and tons of stuff. So y'all have to follow him. He's in Birmingham with me. Welcome, Ricco.
Hey, welcome.
We're so
How are
glad.
you?
So it's funny, y'all, when Ricco and I get together, we talk for 4 hours, but we promise we will cut it off. Not talk for 4 hours a day, but he definitely speaks my language. So welcome. Anything exciting that you're the Identity King? How did you get that name?
That was by revelation, by insight. I didn't realize that when I wrote that book, then I didn't realize it was speaking to the times we're in right now. So it's just amazing to me, and it's not saying that I'm the only king, right? There are other kings, of course, but when it comes to identity, that's really the pillar, like the foundation, of my assignment in the earth. And so he gave it to me one day, and I was just like, okay, all right. Well, I'm not big on names or anything like that, but I think for people to like understand and how can they relate or connect with you, right? And then how does that also help with your message for other people? That's a big deal.
Now, see, I have to counter. I am big on names, and I'm a woman of faith, and God talks to me through dreams. He gives me these
Yeah.
pictures. And whenever I'm trying to explain concepts, I need pictures. I help people with their finances. And my buddy talks numbers. I'm like, what? I need an analogy. But, anyways, I asked God what he called me, and he said,
Yeah.
Ariella. And it was quick. If you have ADD, don't worry. God knows, and he'll talk quick. And he said Ariella. And I said, I've never heard that name before. What does that mean? And he said, Lioness of God. And I was like, oh, and that just means a lot of things to me. So,
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
yeah, so I
Amazing.
do like names. And I got a picture over there on that side of the room of a Christmas.
Yes.
Because I said, okay, God, I'm always asking you, who am I today? What's happening? I said, just wrap it up clean and tidy. And he said, he gave me a Christmas tree. And that's
Wow.
the whole meaning too. And I have gifts under the tree with individual names on it because I see people
Mm,
for who they are and their
mm,
gifts. And then I got a
mm.
choo-choo train around it because I like to get people activated and moving.
Right.
Let's
Right.
know that I'm Ariella, but let's hustle now. We got to get busy, get that train moving.
I got you.
So, but I love that the Identity King, because even in business, we got to kind of know where we're going today.
Right.
And so that's
Right.
good. Well, y'all, have you ever this statement rocked me when I heard this because raise your hand in the room if you'd like to have more money in your bank account. All of us, right? Even Elon Musk would like more money because you
Uh-huh.
can do more things. There's more choices. Well,
Hmm.
somebody said to me one day, the money that's in your bank account is a reflection of what your identity has been. And I'm like, oh,
Mm,
shoot. I know that I've got more in me than what's in my bank account.
hmm.
So Rico, how in the world when you talk about God-given identity, what do you mean by that? Because, and then we're going to break this down. Like, how do we expand? Because God's pretty expansive.
Right, right, right. I'm glad you brought it up. When we talk about your God-given identity, I have a we have something where one time we use it's actually on the book itself, which is the fingerprint, which the fingerprint and the G in the middle and the crown and the fingerprint at the top. And so basically your God-given identity, your fingerprint, your royalty, who you really are as a king or queen in the kingdom of God is found in the fingerprint, your God-given identity. So it's more about identity is more about again who you are more so than what you do. It's about being than doing, and it's really the root foundation because if you think about it, I share this example. Normally when I was on a podcast some time ago, and I was on the platform a panel this past Saturday, and we had this very discussion. And I always use this example when it comes to identity. You can have, let's say, I have a product. Imagine I have a bottle in my hand, a water bottle or a Powerade, right? Or what's the most important? I ask this question: what's the most important part on that product? And most people tell me, of course, the name Powerade. That's the identity. That's what they say. I say that's interesting. I said they're one of the most important things, or probably the most important thing, and without it, no sale is made. Is the barcode. So
Oh,
the
yes.
barcode is what identifies the product, but that's also what is used to give people access to the product, to access the authority within that product to quench whatever their thirst, whatever the purpose is.
That's true. Otherwise, they're just looking at it on the shelf.
Yes. So when it comes to identity, it's who are you marked to be,
Mm.
not. And then like I said, and in the kingdom, as a kingdom man and kingdom woman of God, here's the thing: you are a son or daughter in the kingdom. So who you are is not your function, but who you are is foundational and important to your function.
Mm.
Very much so. If I were to have, if I don't know my identity, but people talk a lot about authority, right? Identity and authority are not the same. You know, authority is like the gift, like what is your function? What do you do, right? But identity is who you are. If I don't know who I am, then how can I be, how can I clearly identify which key authority to use to unlock that which I'm assigned to? I can't,
Wow. Yeah.
you see. So that's what identity has been revealed to me in is more so who are you apart from your occupation? Who are you apart from your industry? Who are you apart from your function, your gift? It's not you, but it functions from you.
So, what would be a practical step people could take to just go, oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Like, can I just say, before we met today,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
was eating my lunch. I
Hmm.
like to watch TV eating my
Hmm.
lunch. And I was like, maybe you should just be quiet for a minute. Just be like 20 minutes and not listen to anything, right? Because we don't get quiet ever.
Right.
So, what would be a practical thing or a type of way to engage God and go, hey, or do they engage with you? Like, what's the best thing?
Here's the thing. What I found about it is again we intertwine identity and authority as what they do, but almost like in a way, kind of authority can kind of give you a clue to like your barcode, like they can work interchange. And so, for just as an example, when I started realizing, like, okay, what is it that people come to me for? Or what is it? How is it that I share or help connect with them in a way to where they get, okay, I didn't think about that, but now I see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I had to ask God to reveal to me. Yes, I know what the scripture says, but reveal to me what is it like being a son
Oh, yeah.
or a daughter in the kingdom? Because we're not used to a kingdom in America. We're used to a democracy or we're used to a republic. But in the kingdom, The king's word is law, right? And in the kingdom, we're not owners; we're really stewards with ownership privileges.
Yeah.
So once I began to look or take that step, like, okay, God, what is it that you gave me that's not like anybody else?
Great question.
If because again, when we start things, even on the entrepreneur journey or just the journey in general, yes, we have mentors, we have coaches, and I appreciate them,
Hmm.
right? Even being one. But the thing is, as an effective coach, my job is not for you to be a duplicate of me.
Right.
My job is to actually help pull the best version of you that was in you. So one of the ways to help you, yes, number one, ask God to reveal like what makes me uniquely different, right? But also, secondly, I would say practically, allow him to lead you to someone who can mentor you or coach you to help you um, see the things you're doing that you just think is just, oh, it's just something I just do,
Right.
but it's stemming from who you are. Like that, it's like a mirror when we're in a car driving. We have blind spots, right? So we have to have someone else, which we're interdependent, with one another. We have to have someone else to help us see. Okay, these are some clues. These are some signs, and you're just not aware of. You just like, I'm just doing that thing. No, or this is just the way I am. No, it's somebody else can help be an accountability mirror for you to be like, this is the gift you keep slipping up on.
Yeah.
You're a king in this area or a queen in this area, but you're missing it because again, your focus is looking at somebody else's fruit. And you're
Yeah.
like, I see what they're doing. I want to do that. And then you try to turn around and be like, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's not it.
Yeah, it's funny how we minimize our genius, but our
Yeah.
genius is what people would pay lots of money just to get at it because there's things that it's funny I'll do and I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. Like I'm throwing an event in February and I'm like, it's no big deal. I do it all the time. And my friend is freaking out, like, I can't even do that at all. And I go, oh, but she's also doing all the food. I don't do food, styling, decor. No, I mean, y'all might go, yeah, we need to jazz you up. I'll take requests, but it's not, I don't do decor, right? I have a simple haircut because I don't want to think about it. But yeah, we miss out on our genius. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about when we grow up we
Mhm.
get our identity gets confusing. We get weird ideas
Mhm.
given to us. My brothers used to tell me to shut up so much I thought that was my name. So so I was like, isn't it funny how that's usually the flip side of that is speak up and
Right.
I love to talk. Of course, my
Right.
husband's like shh, but still but how
Yeah.
does that let's go back to the money even. Like we get thoughts and beliefs as a kid
Mhm.
and then how do we reconcile that with what God, because God is so abundant. Hello, He made the stars. Let's just talk about stars alone. There's so many we can't even count them.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
made those, the hair on our heads, and that He even cares when we stub our toe. And so He cares and He sees us abundance. And then we have limits and we have an enemy that does not want us to know our capacity. So how do we balance that out and sort through the mess from the past?
Well,
I know that's a big question.
yes,
There's
that's a
not one
big
quick way.
question, but it's really worth dissecting or really sharing some insight on. Because again, we are programmed from our environment, right? And so if you come from thoughts or that are like poverty conscious, even if you make a lot of money, but it's like you could spend everything you have, right?
Yes.
But if there's something in the core of you and your soul that's not really, it could be a wound that you don't even realize, and it's been like passed down. And here's the thing: I'm going to say this, in Exodus 20, I believe it talks about the sins of the fathers visits the third and fourth generation, right? And a lot of us today are part of that third and fourth generation, and the reason why we're catching a lot of more frequent attacks or more frequent how could I say, challenges or discomforts,
Hmm.
is because the enemy wants to renew another 3 to 4 generations worth of covenant.
Yes.
So if you're sent to break that, of course he wants to put the pressure on you so that you can keep that covenant going within your bloodline or in your seed, in your children, and even their children and beyond. But the reason it's so important to be aware of this is because I can never rise above the level of my thinking.
Right.
I can never, if my mindset has been contaminated with average, mediocre, and what I thought was cool until I got to be a certain age, and I realized, wow, that's not really much. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is different. You thought you were living good when you didn't. But when you got older and you had the responsibilities, and then of course with the way things are going today and how they're constantly going up, as the things go up, how do you actually upgrade your capacity?
Do you know when I was a little girl, you know what I
Uh,
thought would make me rich?
what's that?
If we had a hammock and a trampoline. I'm rich and I'm this stuff. I got a hammock and a trampoline.
I
And when
know
I was probably 27, I bought a hammock and I'm like, I'm the stuff now. I laughed
it.
at myself, of course, because like, surely we can do better than this. But
Huh?
yeah, it's funny. And even my mom raised me. We only shopped clearance because she had three of us kids and my parents were running their own business. So we shopped clearance. And even now, as a grown woman who's made plenty of money that can afford $100 outfit, it's
Right.
really hard, or even a shirt. It's hard for me to go, yesterday or last week I was looking at a boutique and there was
Mhm.
$350 dresses. And like, eek. I'm like, you know what? If you got the money, you can afford that and you can buy it. But it was real hard for me to accept because of that childhood raising.
Yes.
You don't waste money on certain things, but and then other things we spend all kind, like we value, every family has different values. A friend of mine's like, I'm gonna always have credit card debt because she wants a certain lifestyle. So
Mm.
and she goes, I don't care if I have credit card debt, but I was raised not to have it. And I also thankfully had family backup so that if something was crazy, I could
Hmm.
get back up. So not everybody has that, but I also hustled. I think I've had two jobs at least since I was 21. So
Yeah, but the thing is, I think to really bring this point out, this is why I believe entrepreneurship is probably one of the greatest personal leadership transformation programs you can be a part of, because it's going to challenge, it's going to expose whatever thoughts you have at your core. Like,
yes.
and you're gonna hit a wall, and you're gonna be like, okay, do I want to go back to where I was, or am I gonna make a decision right now to go forward and progress? One of the biggest things I would say for me, dealing with the poverty mindset, was a big, and look, there's some, I had realized that it was some decisions I had to make, but because I was so ingrained in it, I had to be intentional about transforming the way I think, and then
Hmm.
transforming how not only I see me, but transforming me to see me through the eyes of God. And
Can tell me
that's
what one poverty thought might be or poverty belief. So if somebody has a poverty mindset, what would that look like in real life?
one of the poverty mindsets is rejection. Like you think that there's not enough people to help you, and then when you reach out for help, you like, okay, well, nobody wants to help me.
Oh
But you
yeah.
didn't you didn't even like try to ask for the help because you're so used to doing it yourself. And what happens is, the vision God gives you is much bigger than what you can handle yourself, right? It's going to require you to connect with other people who can take further what it is that you do, enhance it. Now, yes, will there be an investment for you to work with them? Absolutely. I think that's like the gateway for you, because it's like, okay, I know I need to elevate, but now in order for me to elevate, I've got to have some type of capital. Even if I don't have it, I have to believe for it and trust God with the strategy to unlock the capital that's already there. It's not that I'm chasing, but it's I'm actually being positioned from who I am to release that, unlock that, right? And that's a journey because it's going to take you. Poverty only blinds you. It blinds you to make you look at yourself. Like you can't look beyond yourself. But
Right.
when you're abundant mindset, now you look at other. You realize that okay, this is bigger than me. So at some point, I'm going to have somebody who can help me or even a small team because look, the vision starts with you, but it
Yes.
never ends with you. And I think when we understand that, we can look at scriptures like Habakkuk 2 and 2, where it says, write the vision and make it plain, put it on tablets so that a runner can share it with others. That runner, pretty much, God gives you the vision as like you're the architect in
Mm-hmm.
terms of building the house, right? The blueprints, it gives you that. But you notice that the architect technically isn't the one that's out there directed or actually building the house. They actually have a general contractor who has subcontractors to help build the house. So you being the architect, he's leading you with the blueprint, but he's connecting you with other runners. I call them general contractors who have access to other team and resources to help execute what it is that you do. Why? Because it's very hard to be in something or be in the forest and oversee the forest at the same time. So you're
Yes.
gonna have to really um now you're gonna your the poverty mindset is being challenged now, and the poverty spirit, the yoke of it is being challenged because now instead of looking at or settling for the limits of your own capacity, now you're being forced to rise up, and now being led to people who are sent to help you. And you got to be willing. Another thing about a poverty spirit is your unwillingness to receive help.
Do you have things on your YouTube channel that talk about the poverty spirit?
We do talk. Well, we it's matter of fact. I think we do. We have one that's entitled "The Wealthy Soul."
Okay.
That's one. That's part one. There is a part two coming to that, but definitely, that's one of them. I'm really gonna probably, since you brought it up, gonna really attack that a bit more as more of a testament of my personal journey and how I just had to shift my thinking
Yeah.
to really like not settle for poverty because it's easy to do when you've dealt with it for so long. You know,
Yes.
another thing you might want to know, poverty's what's a sign of that is when you always say I can't afford it.
Yes.
Whenever you keep saying that, it's not just the price of the money you're looking at, but it's really how you think and your perception of that. And now you're like, okay, well, I've learned, even as I'm talking to you right now, when you hear that phrase, I can't afford it, what you're really saying is, I choose to settle where I am. And so, what hasn't shifted because so long the thoughts have been coming in your head, the words or seeds from you and other people that you've been
Mhm.
hearing. And so now it's penetrated past your consciousness and it now is planted, ingrained in your subconscious. Sub means below. So now you have to do, um, God's not only so powerful to help you, but you got to make a decision to do the deep work too, which is you got to study, you got to take steps with taking chances, taking risks that you normally wouldn't take. So you got to be able to shift from, okay, I'm just going to sit back and just do nothing,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I just wanted it to come out of the sky. You got to shift from that to like, okay, I'm proactive. Okay, what's the strategy? What's the next step I can take that can unlock what I've been looking for?
so on a practical note, I have done some work with people just to kind of I kind of tune into what their timeline is. And sometimes God will highlight to me, it's when they were 4 years old. I don't even
Mhm,
have to say more than what happened at 4 years old around your money. And they'll go, oh, this happened.
mhm.
And we had to put the candy back or
Yep.
whatever. and that story will pop up, and then we can clear it real quick and easy. But I think
Mm.
we also have to take personal responsibility. And
Yes.
if you just said, "Hey, God, I want to take personal responsibility," I think I've got the poverty mindset. Not sure, but I'm open to you pointing some stuff out. Just
Mm.
make me aware. And as He makes you aware, write it down. And truly, it's simply lies, right? Flip it. So once you write it down, like, "Oh, I don't have enough money," or "I can't afford it," then flip it and say, the great question is not why can I not, but go, how can I? And then what I find is God's so good, He doesn't overwhelm us with too big of a list. Like I would, if I was God, I'd overwhelm you. But He's so good to go, okay, Julie's attention span's really small, or she only has so much time in the day to focus. So let's give her one thing to do. And this, it's so much fun. This year, my focus with my goal has not been to change a million things, but to do one connection every day and not break the chain. And I have been doing fitness every day and not breaking a chain for I think 6 months now. I got to total it up. It might be 7, but
Wow.
it's just consistency and keeping it really simple. But ask God, what's the one thing? And if He's not telling you that next thing, like, and it is so empowering because He will tell me, call Ricco today,
Yeah.
or call Sam today, or
Hmm.
call Dennis, because that's all it takes. And I
Hmm.
think He likes that dependence we have with Him instead of doing it all ourselves. So
Wow.
when people are stuck, let's go back to they're stuck, let's say at 70,000.
Hmm.
Now, Rico and I are entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs have the ability to make money. But was listening to The Magic of Thinking Big. I don't
Okay.
know the author's name, but The Magic of Thinking Big. I think man's name is Daniel, but I can put it in the show notes. But it talked about there was an employee, and employees make employee money. And
Mhm.
even with a raise, it's usually not keeping up with the cost of living or the increase of insurance. So you think, how can I possibly make more money? Well, this one employee would always think, how can I bring value to other people? And I think so much in abundance is being outward focused and going, how can I serve others? Who can I connect with today? Who can I serve? And this man ended up taking over the company. The guy said, I want him to be the boss. He's our accountant, but he thinks he's solved so many other people's problems in the company
Mhm.
that he
Mhm.
moved him to run the company, which I think is amazing. And
Right.
when we seek to serve versus saying, this is what that book was saying, we seek to serve versus going, well, that's not my job. I can't do
Mhm.
that. That's not for me. Um,
Mhm.
Opportunities are coming, right?
Mhm.
Let's say
Mhm.
yes
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
figure it out later.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this as you were talking. Definitely, it's about focusing on how waking up like who can I be a blessing to today, right? I mean, even if you're not at a point financially where it's running out of it's running over, a lot of times it's just the next step, like with what you already have where you are. You know what I mean? And I've learned two things. Number one, there was a book I read by Jim Schultz, I believe. Well, it's called Inner Excellence, and he talks a lot about being present in the moment. And when you're outcome focused, you think about when pressure hits, and you're outcome focused, you think about your past, about what mistakes you made. Then also you think into the future, or you're looking into the future, like I want to, like I what it would be. But here's the thing: you're absent in the present.
Mm,
And
yeah.
and if you're absent in the present, see, it's in the present where you make the decisions right now that could impact what it is or where you're going. So that was one. Another thing I learned is two. When you ask that question, how can I? I learned to shift my question from how now to who.
Mhm.
And I learned that by reading by the guy. I've got his book right here. I'm almost done with it again for maybe the second or third time. But right here by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, who not how. And what I learned is to ask the question instead of how can I? Because how, yes, how is important, but it's almost like how creates the problems. But who can help me with this? That has really shifted the game for me now because now I realize it opens up my thinking And I just had this happen. I literally just had this happen yesterday. Like I took the insight that they were talking about in the book about when Dan Sullivan, he talks about how Dan Sullivan shares maybe like 50% of what he has, and how Dan used to hold on to his ideas and try to build them out individually before sharing, like he had to have 90% or more. But what we found is, I think he was like, Dan was like, does 50% where he thinks through it, but then the other 50, he works with other people getting feedback. And so yesterday I got feedback from someone I met. We met on LinkedIn, and he's, of course, a video production guy. We're talking about him. We're looking forward to working together very soon. And of course, we talked, and he shared his insights and shared what value that they bring to the table, which I love. I mean, his name, their name is like confirming. I think it's Ruah
Oh,
Creative House.
yeah.
Ruah, like the Holy Spirit breathed, and he and I connected like that. And he's anytime I need help, whether we work together or not, just call him. So I called him. I felt like, okay, I saw something I was working on, and then I shared it with him, and then he began to give me some insights of, okay, how you can go take one step to the next, one step to the next. Here's the thing: I learned when I asked who, not how. It helped break off selfishness from me,
Yes.
pride from me.
Yeah.
Like I don't need it. Like I want to be look like I have it together. I don't want to look or appear like I'm struggling. But
Right,
I
Right.
realized, like Les Brown told us some years ago, you don't ask for help because you're weak. You ask for help because you're strong. And I realized, wow, I had to ask for help there. And what that help did, it just further expounded what I was already given.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I noticed whenever I hire a coach, I
Mhm.
usually grow 30 to 50%.
Yes.
All of my coaching clients had a 30% growth. Okay, maybe some might have a 20. If they were not doing their homework, they did not get growth.
Right.
But no, I'm pretty hard on, like, come on, let's do your homework. Let's go. Because
Right.
accountability. And
Right.
yeah, it's so amazing. And if you think of influencers on social media, all
Hmm.
they're doing, and someone had to go say, could I borrow your social platform? Yes,
Hmm.
that's why it's so incredible. Okay, so good. um if I am struggling, and as I'm working through poverty mindset, and I hear things and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm going back to this thought, I do think we have to put in the truth of God in it. What are
Yes.
some things I can do practically to be okay and balance that out with, like, because I don't want to overcharge, and I don't want to undercharge, I don't want to play small when God's calling me to go bigger.
Ooh. Well, here's the thing I learned. This I dealt with that too, even in making offers. One thing I will say, when I undercharge, I'm really underserving them, because if I undercharge, I'm really giving them an easy way out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so I would say that in undercharging, I'm hurting them more so than I'm helping them.
Because
See
you've
what I mean?
diminished your product, and then they may or may not do their homework in their coaching. But let me tell you, I am like, I don't want to say I'm cheap, but I suck the value out of everything that I buy. So when I have a coach, you better believe all my homework's done. And I drove this one, I think she was a coach. I went to her for counseling. I think she was trying to coach me. I drove her nuts, and we parted ways after 2 sessions. I was like, you're not for me. We're not a fit, which happens, I'm sure. First time that ever happened to me. But anyhow, I had all my homework done. I had given her, like, this is what's been happening. So because I know I'll waste time going, let me tell you for 30 minutes what's been happening. And I would tell my clients too. I said, listen, email me your update ahead of time. Let me read through
Yep.
that. Don't waste 30 minutes on our call telling me about some soup you made. Okay. Write it down. Let's have our process. Then we can get into the meat of things. So,
That's so funny, but because like you said, accountability. That used to be a word out. Look, I don't know why I would cringe at times when it came to accountability or being corrected. And I think where I think it stemmed from was in my younger days because when I played basketball, and I had a coach who was almost like Bobby Knight.
Oh,
Like,
he was intense.
yeah, it was intense. It was intense, right? And so I didn't like being fussed at and stuff like that. And I didn't realize how much that impacted me. Like some people it doesn't bother them, but like I guess that bothered me. And so what happened, I would be more afraid to make a mistake. I would be afraid to be taken out of the game more so than doing my part, focusing. And if I get taken out of the game for doing what I do, you see what I mean? I to me that hurt. I'm like, wow, where is this coming from? That's where it stemmed. It
Yeah.
stemmed from,
The
like I said, we don't
trauma.
realize how much our childhood, what we
Yeah.
go through, where it's almost like when you're an adult, you're facing it's I don't know if I saw this, you may have seen this. What it was one time on social media where they would have these images of a grown person looking in the mirror at the smaller younger version of them. And that's what it's like. Like you don't grow past the level that you're emotionally or traumatized
Yes.
at. And so people don't realize financially it could be trauma that you're dealing with, and it's not an excuse, but it's the reality. And this is why you have, even being in faith, I have a therapist, right? I have therapy, and then the
Yeah.
reason you have that is because if you don't talk through or bring up or expose those things, they'll always stay hidden. And what I realized, I didn't realize I hated accountability at first, and I thought it was a bad thing, but I realized it was a blessed thing
Yes.
later because I'm like, hey, instead of me avoiding you getting on to me, I realized that if I had that attitude still, now all of a sudden it's going to affect the possibility of me growing because now I'm like, I'm saying I don't want to be corrected. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? That's just different. I know it. I know it. It's this kind of conversation that we're having today. I think people, if you really look at it, again, it's more about the person you become,
Yes.
more so than the work that or what it is that you're doing.
Right.
That's where the transformation happens. And I know it. You gotta face that which is uncomfortable. That's part of it. But if you don't face that, then you're gonna continue to repeat that.
I think that's why we have conflict in the world because just think about your coworkers or
Yeah.
people you interact with or somebody that is your neighbor. Whenever there's that rub or that conflict, sometimes it's you spot it, you got it. You need to work on that. But sometimes there that annoying person is actually a gift for you to go back and rework some things. So
Right.
we need each other. We need each other to grow. We need each other for feedback. But
Mhm.
so let's go back and say this. Well, this will be our last question. If
Okay.
people truly live from their God-given identity, how would that affect their net worth?
Wow. It would affect the network tremendously because they wouldn't be living from the external proof, external validation. Like, can you imagine the pressure of the stock market? You're looking at the markets going up. You're looking at the real estate, looking at all that. You look at that and you see the external, but you don't have the internal piece. And because you don't have the internal piece, now what takes place is the vest the you are now letting that dictate to you rather than you dictating to it. So
Hmm.
you live outside in instead of inside out.
Hmm.
That's a so now knowing your identity, even when things change, even if you get laid off the job, even if the thing that you have been doing for years, all of a sudden they don't want you anymore, you're rejected, right? Identity is so important because it helps you realize the foundation that I don't stop because of what I no longer have externally. It's
Yes.
just an opportunity for me from the inside to build from the blueprint that was already given before I was even born. Now I can see, like, whoa, wait a minute. So I settled for a smaller version, but I had a greater version in the blueprint within me, but I wasn't aware of it. And so sometimes the loss is really an opportunity to awaken to who you really are and what you've already been given, not trying to settle for somebody else's gifts and you miss it. So I'm telling you, it is. I find this very valuable because if you are living from outside and external validation without internal transformation, you will always be this small and you'll always be running after things that you're supposed to conquer.
So good. So good.
Mhm.
Yes. It is so astounding where it is so key for y'all. So I want to ask everybody that's watching to evaluate, invite God in, have a chat. I don't know if you need to stomp, need to scoot, need to be quiet and do meditative music, whatever it takes. Go for a walk, but have the question. Say, am and you know what I like about our income? Our income kind of tells, is this enough? Because a great indicator, do I have enough in my bank account? It's not a value of me or not, is am I connected to you enough, God? And you might even say, are you happy with what I'm making? And if he says yes, and you feel a peace and a calm, awesome. If you don't have a peace or a calm about your income, go, okay, well, what's my one next best action to take? Because I've done direct sales for 30 years and I've talked to many of people say, do you want to check some of this out? And they're like, nope, I don't want to bother people. Well, but what if that's the key that God has equipped you with? No, I'm quite okay that some of them said no to me.
But you know what though, Julie, I will say this to you. I'm telling on myself, but then I'm helping somebody else with what I'm
Yes.
about to say. All right, and you're gonna get it because you were on a call that we had, the three-way or something like that, right? And here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna mention any names, but I will say this: I hated direct sale. I hate. Look, and to this day, I kind of still hate it.
Yeah.
Like. Why can I say that? I can say that without bashing. It wasn't so much that it's not so much the company's bad. I'm still with them, but I'm just saying I changed my perspective of how I see it.
Hmm.
Because I really walked away. I mean, I was still my name was still on the roll, but I walked away
Hmm.
until last in December last month. I came back and I sat right in there. I sat right in that presentation, and I was like, I was daring the speaker to be like, "Man, you got to sell me." Like I'm real, and I told him this
Yeah.
after after the meeting we ate lunch and all. I told him, I said, "Man," I was like, "You got to sell me," and I'm just sitting there like getting hit left and right. And it wasn't so much about the product or service itself,
The opportunity.
but he actually taught it. Like God used him to help bring it all together. Like I would be around other people, but they would tell me, "Well, you got to do this." You know what I mean? You
Hmm.
get the hoorah stuff. You get all that, right? But
Yes.
the transformation wasn't there. That's what was missing. And he brought the transformation, brought it all together. And I'm like, I never heard it this way, but it really was. It really was the cocoon that was used to really grow my leadership, training, communication, listening, how to deal with rejection. See, I think the true blessing that we missed in dealing with home stuff, home business. And so what we miss, here's a transition. Okay, this is going to help somebody. You can have an opportunity and you'll see it, right? You may be an employee and you get offered this opportunity, right? And here's the thing, we can go into the opportunity wrong because we're looking at the opportunity from an employee lens. Like,
Yes.
okay, I got to do this in order to get that. Okay, that's right. There's a process. I get that. But what we're missing and what I saw, and this is what really kind of helped me see, like, it's not the purpose of what I do, but it's an extension of the purpose. And what
Hmm.
I saw was, okay, my leadership, how can I again focus, be more system driven, not personality driven? See, I saw that. How to be a team player, how to win, why by helping other people be in position to do the work to win, and we win together. See, I saw that. You see, I saw Okay, the revenue, yes, but my attitude and how I serve, it can and my attitude is I may not like it. I may hate the industry, I hate this or whatever. But what I learned was sometimes you got to do what you hate to get to what you love.
Yes.
And that's and I'm using that so as an example of the transformation you have, because even if you do or you're in what you love and you're passionate about, there are going to be things you hate to do even with that. So are you going to stop because you're doing something you hate, or are you actually going to change the way you see what you hate to help position you to fulfill what you love? I'm telling you, that example, and I've never said that publicly, but that example has helped me realize, like, even if I'm working somewhere else, knowing that I was building something, working somewhere else helped me with my attitude of how to serve, so I would be able to serve effectively other people that
Yes.
work with me. So you
Yes.
see what I'm saying? It changed. That was a poverty mindset shifter to go from entitled to like empowered by
Okay.
serving other people. So hopefully that helped the audience with what I was sharing just then, and the other stuff too.
Yes. And going from entitled to empowered, going from, I don't know that I have enough to, you have abundance. So, gang, it's so key to get your mindset right. Rico, thank you for joining us. If you guys have any questions or feedback, feel free to email me. If you need to have some assistance on how do I even get there, I don't even know. Call me. We'll chat about it. Just because I like to mind people's business. I don't sell coaching, but we'll mind your business. Rico just fell into the dark, so his light fell off. Thank you for joining us. Well, I love Rico. Y'all take him to lunch. He'll, if you're in Birmingham, have him on a call. He'll come talk to you, but dig in and get his book. It is spelled out, laid out so good. Your God-given identity. Yes.
Yes, here's the thing.
What?
Yes, that book, that version you see, the one you have, yes, that's the original.
Yeah.
There is an expanded version coming.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's revised. It's expanded. Yes.
Okay. Well,
So in the meantime, take that one. Okay, I get that, but I'm just letting you know that there is an expanded version of that book, because now with all that's taking place, the transformation and the growth since then, and some other testimonials. I'd like to include, especially with yours too. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing that.
you're welcome.
But yeah, that's on the horizon, to revise that, especially for the time we're in right now.
Well,
So
it's a solid book. I actually was reading it going, dang, I wish I would have written this. So, because it was so
yeah.
good. Y'all read it. Like it's spelled out really well. So if any
Not
of your,
even 100 pages.
yeah, you can read it. You'll be okay. But it's profound. So it'll dig in. Well,
Awesome.
y'all have an amazing day. Go be great. Go be you. Ask God what your name is and step up to your calling and a higher net worth.